It's mid-January and I get caught napping while stalking Roe in the Hampshire countryside. It's a bitterly cold morning as Ewan and I make our way to a high seat. And as the sun starts to rise, I'm reminded of the need to plan ahead. 2 roe have trotted across the field behind our seat and are now soaking up the warmth of the winter sun, whilst Ewan and I shiver in the shade. A stupid mistake, and I should know better, and after 3 hours we finally succumb to the cold and move on. After a quick break for lunch, a muntjac doe appears, but she's on the rangy side, and with her rear on, I'm not about to take a Texas hard shot.
You on it? Yeah. I'm not going to try that yet. You on it? Yeah.
In search of a roe doe, we move on. Okay, so we're having a little bit of a frustrating day today. Just the other side of the hedge out in the field was a roebuck. Now, we're after roe today, but of course it's the does that are in season. It's mid to late January, but nonetheless it makes an interesting point. The roebuck down there, quite a mature animal, is quite far advanced in velvet. Obviously, with roebuck, their antler cycle is different from the other species of deer, and that means that they're growing their antlers at the moment. And that antler growth is covered in what we refer to as velvet, and he was already quite far advanced. So something to look for if you're hunting roe during January. Hunting from dawn to dusk today is taking its toll, and so I grab a few minutes to take a kip, leaving Ewan to keep watch. And wouldn't you know, Ewan nudges me awake as 2 roe appear to our right, just about 30 yards out. From here on, it's a process of minimising my movement as I reach for my rifle, only daring to move when the deer move, and freezing whenever they look my way. This is a good tip to remember if you're learning to hunt deer. Eventually, not daring to move further, I manage to get the rifle butt into my shoulder, and with the deer only 30 yards away and getting closer with every step, I make one of the most unorthodox shots I've ever had to take. Slightly unorthodox shooting position that was. I don't know if you saw that, but I had to take the shot from here with the rifle canting, and I wouldn't normally do that, of course, but the reality was I got caught out. I got caught napping, is the honest truth. I'm lying flat on my back, and then the deer come past us, 20 or 30 yards away. I'm flat on my back. Every time I try and move, they're spotting us. Got a beautiful backstop. I can see they're both does, which is fantastic. But as I say, lying flat on my back, the only way I could do it is to get a shot like that. Slightly unorthodox, but at that sort of range it certainly did the job.
Not exactly the greatest camera position either, is it?
Good, we got her. And I know instantly we got a doe because of this. This is what we call the anal tush. And I'm going to show you that a little bit more clearly. I'm going to just drag her out and then we'll talk about it. Okay, so here's our exit wound. Dirty, great big wound, but it's quartering, so it's come in. She came broadside, but it's come through. And if we turn her over, you'll see here's my entry wound here. So it's come through like this, and that's why we've got an exit wound that is slightly further back. Okay, so let's talk about this animal. Well, I said first of all we got a doe. I don't know if I mentioned earlier on that a lot of the bucks, the mature bucks at any rate, have some antler growth, so that's our first tip. So when you're looking at roe at this time of year, mid-January, February, that time, first of all, our first giveaway, there's no sign of any antler growth whatsoever. But be careful, because a little earlier on in the season for does, the buck will have cast. So the surefire way of telling with roe does that you have a doe when in season is this. This is what we call the anal tush. Don't be mistaken, I'm not talking about the whole white rump here. I'm talking about specifically this sprouting hair here. That's what you're looking for. That is the dead cert. So you know if you see that on a roe deer during the winter months that you have a doe, and that's what you're looking at because that's what's in season, because the males are protected. Okay, so another thing you might want to think about when stalking roe is selection, animal selection. Do you want to go for the more mature animals or do you want to go for the youngsters? Now on this ground we're trying to take out the yearlings, and that's because we want to keep our population static. And I know at this time of year the more mature animals, they're going to be pregnant, whereas here I've selected the yearling. You could tell it was the yearling because it was following the more mature animal, probably its mother. And another sign about these animals is they're much lighter in frame and much shorter in the face. They have that characteristics of a much younger animal. It's been a beautiful, bright, frosty day in the countryside, and we've had a fine result. If you'd like to come stalking with us at County Deer Stalking, then contact us on 01403 790 244 or visit our website for more details, www.countydeerstalking.co.uk.